So, nothing less. Seems like a pretty simple thing. 2 words, 3 syllables, 11 letters. But what I'd like to tell you about is how this simple phrase, nothing less, has come to mean so much more to me. 3 years ago, I discovered how it truly feels to let myself down. I'd always been a bright kid, and I could skate by most of my classes without really trying. But the first semester of that year, I blew it. I didn't do the work in the classes that I needed to do, and therefore didn't get the grade I wanted. Instead, I got the grade I deserved. Little did I know at the time, though, how this was going to prompt me to change the way I approached my life. So that Christmas, I got a rather insulting but fitting gift from my dad, a planner, and Stephen Covey's The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, perfectly formatted for lazy kids such as myself, on audiobook. Initially, I kind of shrugged it off and neglected its existence until the end of that Christmas break, and I realized that, you know what, I was going to listen to this. So I put it on, and it immediately drew me in. And I listened to all 3 hours and 22 minutes of it straight through. And I felt like a changed man, ready to take on the world with my newfound knowledge. However, as with all great things, I awoke the next morning to discover that I had forgotten 3 hours and 21 minutes of what the books had said. So 1 minute stayed with me, though. This one little piece about a personal motto, something short or long, picture or text that I could put somewhere that would remind me every time I saw it of what the book had taught me. Of course, being that I'd forgotten everything that they had said, this wasn't going to do me much good. So instead, I decided to come up with my own motto that would mean something else to me. And my phrase that I chose, nothing less. Nothing less has a lot of different applications depending on the situation that you're in. But the message tends to stay the same. Whatever I am doing, regardless of what I'm doing, give nothing less. I think you can really be broken down into 3 categories. My work life, school, swimming, my job, my recreational life, hanging out with friends, relaxing, simply enjoying alone time, and my personal life, family, friends, significant others. So we'll start with the easiest to explain, my work life. It's easy to see how you would take something like nothing less and apply it to your work life. Of course, when something needs to be done, you give it everything you have until it is done. When I go to school, every class, every assignment, I give everything that I have, whether that's 100% on that last test I took or 60%, or even worse. But I think it also can be applied beyond that. My work life, I go and I teach swim lessons after school with the kids up at the local rec center. And I give those kids the attention and the energy that they deserve to prosper. After that, I go to swim practice, and I can barely lift my arms above parallel. And I still get into that pool, despite the 2.5 hours ahead of me of pain, and I give that practice everything that I have to give. So, as far as my work life goes, regardless of what I'm doing, give nothing less. Because your recognition comes from what your best work is. So if you go out there and you give your best, regardless of what it is, you'll never walk away from that situation thinking, I could have done better. Instead, you'll be proud of what you've done. So, moving on, it becomes a little bit harder to see how you would apply this to your recreational life. Of course, even though this is harder to do, I think, or harder to see, I think this is also the easiest to do, because this is something we naturally do. Whether you're trying to relax or enjoy alone time, I make sure, personally, that I give everything I have to relaxing, which, not surprisingly, is quite easy. One of the ways I like to keep myself organized clean. One of the ways I like to keep myself relaxed is through cleaning and organizing. And when I was a little kid, my mom used to come into my room at 10 or 11 o'clock at night because the whole house would be shaking under the sound of my little 7-year-old body flailing the vacuum cleaner around because I couldn't sleep. And even today, I won't sleep if my room isn't clean and my bed isn't made, and I'll catch maybe 5 minutes of shut-eye before I wake up in a cold sweat because there's a t-shirt laying across the room on my floor. And though some people may see this as a flaw, I see this as me just giving my relaxation and my cleanliness my 100%. When I'm hanging out with friends on the football field, playing a game of ultimate frisbee in the middle of the night, I give everything that my body and my spirit can throw at that game. And this may seem really easy to do, but it's harder to see. But regardless, I still make an effort to apply nothing less to my recreational life. Finally, I think the hardest place to see, and incidentally, also the hardest place to apply this, is in your personal lives. I came across this idea not from my own devices, but from my 10th grade English teacher, Chris Corbo. Regardless, it's still really applicable to what this has to say. Today, especially in the era that we're living in, it's incredibly difficult to sit down with someone and give them your 100%. There's always some music going on in the background or a digital distraction device flashing and buzzing within reach. But what I find incredibly powerful is when you can sit down with somebody and give them everything you have to give, your attention, your thoughts, and your love. And it's also an incredibly powerful feeling to sit down with someone else and realize that they're giving you your thoughts, your attention, and their emotions, and that all of it is devoted to the situation that you are in. And sometimes they can't give you everything that you need. And I remember the first time someone told me to come back because they couldn't give me everything, I thought to myself, you don't have time for me. I come to you and request your presence, but you still can push me off like I am not something. Of course, after further examination, I realized that this was really self-centered. But I also realized that if that person would have tried to give me what they had at that time, I would have been really kind of upset with myself that they would have tried to give me something that they didn't have, and that I would have been upset that they didn't give me their 100%. So, regardless of what you're doing personally, it's really important to make sure that you're making that connection with somebody. So, to put it simply, nothing less is not just 2 words, 3 syllables, and 11 letters. It's a way of life. It's something that can be applied in every second of every day. And it's the way thousands of people probably already live their lives. And it also goes back to an ancient Buddhist principle that they call sati, S-A-T-I. And it says that the past is done. You cannot go there. The future is still to come, and you have no control over what's going to happen. But what you can control is the here and the now, and you can be present and aware of the situation that you're in. And giving that moment your 100% is what really matters. So what I challenge all of you to do when you walk out of the door today is to think about how you could apply nothing less to what you do. Watch as you apply this idea of giving your best and see your personal, your recreational, and your work lives all just blossom across the board. Watch as you create something that is truly your best and be proud of the mark that you've left on this world. Watch as you create something that you are truly, singly the perpetrator of and also proud of. But never be content to have something that you wish you could go back and do again. Never wish that you could have that moment to give it more. But most of all, never be content to give anything less than your nothing less. Thank you.